Final game of day one here from the European SmackDown. I am AK 40 Ounce.
I am Billy No Skates.
And we are happy to bring you this matchup. The hosts, Crime City Rollers, taking on the Detroit Derby Girls from Michigan in the United States. Quick look at the rosters before we get going. Very briefly, in the black, we have the Detroit Derby Girl All-Stars, number 08, Jillian Rookard.
Number 10, Swift Justice.
119, Nikki Knoxam.
Number 13, Off the Hook.
241, Lolly Popsum Hard.
28, Racer McChaser.
Number 33, Cookie Rumble.
Number 38, Tigger Hitties.
Meryl Slaughterberg, number 4.
Number 40, Kelly Janai.
Number 428, Freakin' Reekin.
Number 620, Laserbeam.
Peaches and Creamia, number 770.
And 989, Sarah Hypo.
Captains are Laserbeam and Kelly Janai. And in the yellow, the Crime City Rollers.
We've got number 0347, Hannah P.
Number 1, Below Me.
Number 100, Captain Carly Hoare.
Number 1337, Shootchet.
Number 2, Sister Stitch.
20, Trippy.
21, Anka Farr.
22, Juicy Butter.
Number 3, Prince of Fear.
Number 53, Dyke Stalker.
Number 610, Sexual Harassment.
79, Goldie Blocks.
Number 800, Bonnie Bomba.
And number 9, Kicks. And jumping right into the action, we are number 21, Jamming. That's Ankafar for Crime City.
And it looks like that's Sarah Hypo playing for Detroit.
Now both these teams had games earlier. Quickly, Jammer out of turn 2 for Hypo. Detroit playing London first thing in the morning. Being handed a loss after a upset win yesterday evening. Crime City, big win over Glasgow.
Sarah Hypo now heading the back of the pack on her scoring pass, and just running into that wall of Crime City, calls the jam. 1
point to open things up for Detroit. See Crime City ready to go, already back on the line for the second jam. Of course, the European SmackDown is brought to us largely in part by Sucker Punch. They have the largest range of in-stock items, so you can walk out the door with wheels, skates, protective gear, anything you want. You can do that in Ghent, or if you come here to Malmo for European SmackDown. Billy.
And we've got up on the jam line Curly Hoare for Crime City, and she's up against number 08, Jillian Rookard for Detroit. And it is Rookard who is through first on turn 1, takes a lead jammer.
2 leads in a row for Detroit. Curly Hoare out in the turn, being sent out, finished off by Freakin' Reekin as Rookard hits the pack hits back, and Rookard spins down in turn 1.
Curly Hoare there doing some of her trademark skating on one skate to stay in as long as she possibly could. And we've gone a full round of the track backwards, and they're not stopping. We're still going back.
Yeah, both jammers, bring it back, rewind, gonna reset right where they started. That is the longest drag back I've ever seen, Billy.
It's certainly the longest I've seen, I think.
Now both jammers stuck in the pack, Curly Hoare out first. And Rookard already with lead, is now clear of the pack on her initial pass, up on one skate. Gonna stay in bounds and call it just as Curly Hoare gets in there. 1 point being scored by Crime City. No, make it 2 points for Crime City. So they will now take 2 points out of the board, break the goose egg. Detroit with a total of 6 so far.
For a minute there, I thought I was watching the wrong sport. There was some fairly athletic stuff we saw.
I can tell you, as a coach, I always love practicing reverse direction derby. You get him going the other way. It works on those other set of muscles. You never expect it to be put into practice like that, though.
Indeed. And we've got Swift Justice up for Detroit. And she's up against Prince of Fear for Crime City Rollers.
No pack quickly reforms as Laserbeam drops back to bridge for Detroit. Detroit now spread out 1-on-1. Prince Sophia sent to the infield by Racer McChaser. Good hustle back, great angle for number 3 of Crime City, now dealing with the 3-wall. Meanwhile, in back, Swift Justice having trouble with Crime City's 3-wall. Good rotation from the skaters in yellow and purple.
Nothing too swift about this so far. We have no lead jam. And just as I say that, Cherry Fury calls lead jam on Swift Justice. But Prince Sophia is out ahead of the lead jammer. And Swift Justice, taking direction from her bench, calls that jam before any points are scored. So we still have a 4-point game.
That was 6-2 early on. And quick look at the rankings. Crime City ranked number 25 in the WFTDA coming into this weekend. Detroit number 20, so two teams very closely ranked. Of course, Crime City number 3 in European rankings. Detroit strangely unranked in Europe.
Well, I think that's probably a fairly common thing.
So we've got Heupel back to the jammer line right where Detroit started, but it's going to be a first-time lead jammer here for Crime City. That's Hannah P. Pack breaks apart with Crime City down 2 blockers. Hannah P. Nice weaving movement through the pack, picks up 4 and calls it before Heupel can get back around. We've got a tie game, Billy.
We have got a tie game, 6 points apiece. It's quite a low-scoring game so far, and that is testament to the defense that we're seeing from both teams. Even with only 2 blockers on the pack, Crime managed to hold back Detroit for that last jam.
Yeah, we have seen some incredible defensive stands throughout today. Game earlier, London versus Stockholm, there were at least 3 jams where the jammers never made it to their scoring pass in a full 2 minutes.
But tragically, that reflects much of my particular voyage to this tournament, where I tragically missed that game for reasons known to Manchester Airport and the snow.
So again, we've got Crime City down 2 blockers in the box. And the 2 blockers on the track did a great job of holding back Ruckert, who is now free of her initial pass.
Ruckert is free, but Ankafar is lead, and she calls the jam just as Ruckert was hitting the back of the pack on her first scoring pass.
Yeah, Ankafar had gotten called lead and then reabsorbed on the initial pass, so no points on that one. It'll be a 0-0 jam. We hold serve 6-6. Just about 6 minutes gone in this first half of gameplay. Now again, as I mentioned, Crime City in action earlier today, 536-46 over Glasgow.
That was quite a score.
Big win for them here, and it would be a big win if they could pull off this one too. Lead jammer, good way to start working towards that for Curly Har.
Swift Justice again dealing with that very solid pack of Crime City.
Tight walls from Detroit spread apart. Curly Har has just great power, great speed, the combination you want from a jammer who can do their own offensive blocking. Swift Justice having difficulty here, takes the star off and will be looking for the pass. Meanwhile, Detroit having to focus on defense. And you see Curly Har there pushing up and by herself can cause that pack to spread apart. Detroit not able to bridge. Their entire pack was together, got pushed out of the way. There's an out-of-play block called on Freakin' Rican. Star pass to Meryl Slaughterberg, and it is a power jam now with Curly Har in the box. 3 packs. Slaughterberg pivot, turned jammer, sent out, reset. Good reset right there, loses her edges on the straightaway after a low block will send Crime City's pivot to the box. Power jam is nearly over, and Detroit has put 5 up in that time.
Power jam might be nearly over, but Crime City have 1 solitary blocker on the track at the moment. Penalty starting to rack up a little bit.
Interesting block right there, using the inner thigh, getting that leg up and catching Slaughterberg right in the midsection, slowing her down. Detroit now holding strong against Curly Har's out of the box. Was lead jammer, no lead jammer in the rest of this jam, so we will go the final 3, 2, 1 seconds.
Just waiting for the referee's fingers to see what the final tally in that last jam was going to be.
3 for Detroit and 5 for Crime City. So after all of the points were tallied up in that jam, we've got Detroit with 19, Crime City with 16.
And we have got 21 minutes left in the first period. We've had 6 jams so far, still quite a low score on both sides. Only 3 points separating the 2 teams at this stage. And we did know that it was going to be a close one today. Glad to see that it is, because it's so much more exciting when the teams are evenly matched.
Yeah, we've seen some pretty heavy-handed victories in this event so far. The closest game was actually the closed game last night. 11-point win, Detroit over Stockholm. Right here, Detroit answering back. Lead jammer. After Curly Hoare got it last time, this time it's Heupel. Going right for the middle of that braced 2-wall. Meanwhile, Detroit braced 3-wall. Moving around, reforming. There's going to be an out-of-play assessed to laser beam. So now, for the first time in a while, Crime City will have a blocker advantage in the pack. 4-3 in this next jam.
Sarah Heupel seeing the writing on the wall there. Call that jam just in time.
Will add 2 points to Detroit's total. 21 for Detroit, 16 for Crime City.
We've got Ruckert back up on the jam line for Detroit.
And an official timeout.
Oh, these are always fun.
Oh, yeah. And we'll take this official timeout very briefly, because we're getting back into action, to remind you that you can tweet at us, #talk2SmackDown, and we will read your tweets, your shout-outs, answer questions, all that fun stuff. Compliments are always welcome.
Also, if you have any suggestions for the MVPs for the entire event, we're looking for one blocker, one jammer. They'll be picked by the audience and the announcers, so please do tweet us in if you feel that anybody is particularly standing out head and shoulders.
There's one making a case for herself, Hannah P. right now, lead jammer for Crime City. Aggressive approach to the pack. She breaks it apart and scores a grand slam. Ruckert still held up for Detroit. Detroit down 2 blockers. 3 out there for Crime City.
Ruckert makes her way through the pack, coming up to just about to hit the pack for her first scoring pass, and the jam is caught by Hannah P. 4 points on that jam for Crime City, and none again for Detroit.
Crime City taking the lead here, 25-21, after one of the bigger jams for a single team. Of course, we are all enjoying the European SmackDown here. We've got another day of action. But hey, coming up in July, Euro DerbyCon, the first annual European Roller Derby convention. More on that after this jam. Billy, who's jamming?
Who is jamming indeed.
Well, the lead jammer goes to Crime City. And
that's Ankafar.
So far, good lead jammer percentage for Ankafar.
Well, so far she is going to be on track on her own for a moment.
A blocking out of bounds penalty being assessed to Racer McChaser, so it's 30 seconds of Ankafar. Again, aggressive. Love how they're hitting the pack. They're getting in there in between the blockers, shifting them. Detroit, if they want to stop these jammers, they've really got to dig in. See again right there. A little too much room in those walls. She's getting in there and squeezing through. They've got great power and very, very nice control.
We've seen some really, really good offensive maneuvers here, particularly from Juicy Butter. She's proving an absolute menace in the middle of that pack.
That was a great sweep, an entire team movement in to out to help their jammer Ankafar get up to the front. She did get finished off by Murder City Mistress on the infield. Power jam is over though, and Racer McChaser already making noise. Big hit right there, and Racer gets spun out of the turn by Dykestalker.
That was some really nice footwork there from Dykestalker, taking her all the way back. Racer McChaser almost through that pack.
But solid 1-2 defense now, the entire pack. Jill's in front of Racer McChaser, no pack called. They're gonna drop one back to Bridge. Still 2-on-1, make that 3-on-1 now for Racer McChaser. Looking for room on the edges, but not finding it. Meanwhile, in the back of the pack, Ankafar held up by a brace 2-wall of Detroit. Dykestalker comes back to play offense, shake things up, but Detroit reforms.
Cookie Rumble with a nice little knock to the inside.
Oh, and Racer McChaser back block, a second trip to the box in this jam. Crime City adds to their lead, and we'll get another power jam here.
We actually have a comprehensive lead opening up for the first time this game. We now have 18 points separating the two teams, with 17 minutes still left on the clock in the first half. And we have a timeout happening. I think it might be a moment for Detroit to regroup and take a moment to think about what's the best way to address this developing lead of Crime City.
Yeah, the penalty trouble's the big difference so far, and really the runs that we've seen from either team, for the most part, outside of one jam, have been a result of at least some sort of penalty trouble, whether it be a jammer in the box, multiple blockers in the box. So we are in this timeout. As I mentioned, Euro DerbyCon coming up. Top trainers and seminars, sanctioned games, challenge bouts, vendors and shopping, charity bouts, all kinds of great derby action coming up. There'll be raffles, giveaways, derby weddings, parties. You can find out more at www.track-advantage.com/Euro DerbyCon.
Where is that happening, AK?
In Europe.
I don't know if you've noticed, but Europe is somewhat of a
large
big
place. Yeah. Well, it doesn't say specifically, so you're going to have to go online at halftime or after the game and find out more information. Again, it's track-advantage.com/Euro DerbyCon.
We've got Curly Hoare as the only jammer lining up at the moment. She is in a power jam situation, and on turn one, gets lead jammer just as she overbalances, takes herself out, recycled back, and back again. Ooh, nearly had a ref take out there. I do love those. I'm not sure we're allowed to say that, but I suppose better than on the in-house announcing where the referees can potentially hear you.
That's right.
There we go.
So laser beam landed one that sent Curly Hoare to the outfield and started that whole mess, the conundrum, the quagmire that she was in, but she broke herself free after dodging a hit from laser beam and is now in there and scoring. Ooh, that's a little handsy, a forearm call as Curly Hoare pushes laser beam down. So it's a power jam now. Racer McChaser out of the box. It's a redemption jam.
And both jammers having been into the penalty box during this jam means it's going to be a 2-minute jam. So we've got 1 minute, 30 seconds of which we'll see Racer McChaser uncontested on the track.
Single player offense on the outside from Cookie Rumble. Nice wrap up and allows Racer McChaser to slide by. Going to be a pack destruction call on Crime City. One thing I'm noticing early on, Detroit doing a little bit better job of pack control. Crime City has had to drop back blockers for the bridge more frequently than Detroit has. However, Curly Hoare doing a phenomenal job of just breaking through packs on her own. There she does it again, finishes a grand slam pass out of the box.
Racer McChaser still doing her best to get through on that first scoring pass.
And does a fine job of it, staying up on 1 foot, balancing and staying in bounds.
Manages to take all 5 points on that pass.
Curly Hoare also picking up 5 points. Both teams with a blocker in the box. Oh, and a sliding skater. The jammer, Curly Hoare, takes down Cookie Rumble, who is gingerly getting up.
Looks like Curly Hoare might be going to the penalty box. I'm not 100% sure about that. I'm just waiting to see.
I believe it was a low block.
I did not see the hand signal, but I heard the whistle.
Yeah, it was at the end of the jam. Note to all refs out there, not only does it help the skaters, the audience, and the announcers, but it just makes you a better person when you repeat your hand signals until your jammer goes to the box. We will love you for that forever.
And it looks as though we've got a timeout being called here. It may be, don't know if it's a timeout or an official review.
We'll get a correction. It does appear. I see the timeout hand signal coming from our jam timer. Yes, it is a timeout for Crime City Detroit. Used theirs already in this half, or used one already in this half. Now Crime City calling a timeout. Crime City has the lead, 49-33. We're just about a quarter of the way through this game. Of course, this is the final game of the day. Had some good action, and we've got more lined up for tomorrow. We will see London, Glasgow first thing in the morning. Crime City will take on Helsinki in their next game, which should be a heck of a game, Billy. I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think the Scandinavian teams, there's always been this kind of love-hate relationship between them, so it's always very entertaining when they get together, this ferocious rivalry happening.
And then we'll see a Stockholm, Glasgow, Detroit versus Helsinki, and London Crime City. All the action we have lined up for you tomorrow. All right, so we did have a penalty. Curly Hoare in the box as the jammer before Crime City. Detroit trailing right now by 16. Looks to Sarah Heupel on the power jam.
We've got a pivot line start with whistles blown. Sarah Heupel now approaching to see if she can get through the pack and pick up lead jammer before Curly Hoare is dispatched from the penalty box.
Detroit sending one up to play offense. They do have a blocker in the box, so they are short one. Heupel being locked up right now, and time ticking off the clock. Detroit got to get in there and play some offense. Oh, no, they don't. Heupel skips through, but she cut the track, so it's going to be a power jam now. Curly Hoare out of the box, and we'll get a full 30-second power jam.
Full 30-second power jam and another full 2-minute jam. Oh,
That's
no.
right. Oh, no, she was eligible for
corrected.
lead. Yes. So lead jammer now, belonging to Crime City. Better than a 2-minute jam for Crime City. They have total control of this situation. Weaving Detroit, got to get back together. They had that issue with London. Of course, London doing a phenomenal job of keeping opposing blockers apart. Need to have that quick recovery, reformation on defense.
There's some beautiful footwork there from Curly Hoare. She just is one of those beautiful skaters to watch. Really, really agile, weaving her way through.
And then out of the box and right into Curly Hoare is Sarah Heupel, getting aggressive, hits the pack hard. Knocks down a Crime City blocker. Meanwhile, Curly Hoare knocked down to the infield. Heupel resets from the outfield. Stays, on that inside line, and they're going to say she cut the track again, so second time into the box for her in this jam, Billy.
That's unfortunate for Detroit. They are lagging now at this point.
Yeah, penalties on the jammers starting to cause issues.
26 points separating the two teams now, and this jam is not yet over. We still have 12 seconds left.
Cutting the track sends Freakin' Reek into the box. 5 more points added for Curly Hoare, who comes up on a 4-3 Crime City pack. Gets spun out to the outfield by Laserbeam.
And there's the end of that jam.
Curly Hoare, all 5 points. Another big jam for the captain. Even with a trip to the box, they extend their lead now. 69 Crime City, 33 Detroit. 12-12 left in the first half.
So we've seen in the last couple of jams that Crime City have extended their lead now to double Detroit's points. Starting to build up a comfortable cushion. Of course, at this point in the game, anything could still happen. It could go either way. But we have to say that Crime City are looking like the stronger contenders at this point.
We've got a timeout coming from Detroit. We're interested to see if this becomes an official review or if they're just going to roll with a timeout. It'd be an interesting choice. 12 minutes left in the first half. Obviously you want to get back into this game. Odds are if they do, it's going to remain close, and you're limiting your opportunities to control the clock at the end. But right now it seems more important to get things back on track.
It's giving me the opportunity to check my Twitter feed and see how my beloved home team, Leeds Roller Dolls Rebel Roses, are doing at home. First game of their British champs.
And how are they doing?
They're in the lead. And let's say no more about that for the moment, just in case I curse it.
The old announcer's curse.
Indeed.
And remember, if you're on Twitter checking any scores from anywhere, make sure to tweet at us. Hashtag talk, the numeral 2, a SmackDown.
Don't forget to think about the MVPs for the tournament. It will be for the entire tournament, but if there's anybody who's standing out head and shoulders above everybody else in terms of jamming or blocking skills, then we'd be really interested to hear about that as well.
Here we go, power start for Crime City. They have the lead 69-33, and they've got lead.
Prince Sophia melting through that pack. Was a bit of a bruising pass through. It didn't look like it was an easy one for her, but she is out and lead and approaching the pack for her first scoring pass.
No pack called right there. Good job again. Crime City Jammers very good at pushing the defenders as well. It's going to be an out-of-play block assessed, and Detroit will lose Meryl Slaughterberg, their pivot to the box. No option for Heupel right now. She's got to do it on her own. Cannot pass the star. Quick pass for Prince Sophia after taking a hit to go hitties. She'll shrug it off and keep rolling, adding 4 to Crime City's total.
Sarah Heupel with a star stat, and she's managed to get through that pack. She's weaved her way through, putting the star back on now.
Prince Sophia driven into the infield and will call off the jam with 4 points added to the tally. The strong jam there for Crime City and Prince Sophia. 82 points for them, 33 for Detroit.
That's a 49-point lead at the moment. Just waiting to see what Detroit can pull back before the end of this half. They still have 10 minutes left in this period to see if they can make a dent in that score.
Hannah P. with the star for Crime City. Jillian Rookard, the jammer for Detroit. Hannah P. out lead jammer. Meanwhile, Rookard sent to the outfield just about the jammer line and dragged back 20 feet. Here comes Hannah P. on a scoring pass. Transition, hip, hop, sideways, 5-pointer, Crime City.
It was a beautiful little pass to the outside. It doesn't look like anybody saw it going. She just melted around that pack. But they've got her number now, and they're holding her back quite effectively. Having all 4 blockers on track does certainly assist when it comes to holding back a jammer.
Indeed it does. All right, Rookard finding some room on the inside line, springing free of her initial pass. Hannah P. on a scoring pass, going to reset after being knocked to the infield. Finishes by passing all the blockers. And yes, did get all 5 points. Calls it off before Rookard can get back in. So lead extended now. Detroit stuck at 33. Crime City now 92, knocking on the century mark.
That's Anka Farr on the jam line for Crime City up against Swift Justice for Detroit. And it's going to be a slow start as both walls hold very, very firm for the moment. Nobody making any headway, still holding back. Nobody's past turn 1 just yet. Swift Justice moving forward now, pushing that pack further and further apart, forcing the Crime City blockers to drop back and bridge. And Swift Justice is out and has lead jammer for Detroit. And that's just the boost they need at the moment because they've been lagging a little bit in the last few jams. It's good to see them get a bit of momentum up and going again.
Shoot Tet in the box for Crime City. And Detroit, although they had an opportunity there, did not spring up, could not score any points, at least that we've seen. There's going to be a discussion with the OPR and the JAMREF to confer no points, however, for Crime City. No points for Detroit. And that's a start for Detroit. At least they didn't allow any points. They can now start trying to shift momentum back into the positive.
Indeed. Just a little bit of a boost at this stage can make a bit of a difference to the headspace going into the half.
Oh yeah, you want to get some momentum going. There are those who may argue there is no momentum between halves because you get a fresh start, but you definitely don't want to go into the locker room on a 0 run for 15-20 minutes of the game.
Exactly, and Sarah Heipel gets through that pack and picks up a lead jammer on turn 1 for Detroit.
Ooh. Big takedown right there. Prince Sophia out of play call. Oh, and a multiplayer block being assessed to Heipel.
Oh.
Must have been late coming in because it was given to her when she was on the opposite side of the pack. Maybe it was coming in from the outside pack rough. 5 points coming right now for Prince Sophia as it's a power jam for Crime City. Looking incredibly solid and taking control of this game here in the second half of the first half. Quick scoring pass again. Great offensive movement from Crime City's pack.
We have seen some fantastic hive mind activity from Crime City's pack. They all just seem to be playing really, really well together in terms of knowing exactly where everybody else is and knowing exactly what they are supposed to be doing. And they just make it look easy.
Yeah, Detroit being spread apart, a little discombobulated. Crime City doing a good job of getting them away from each other because obviously most of the strong defense we're seeing is when the teams are sticking together. Whoa, outside pack ref on the far side calling a forearm on that hit. That'll send Racer McChaser back to the box. Early penalty trouble here in the first half for number 28.
Sarah Heipel looked like she was managing to get through that pack on the inside, but she did take a knock and was forced to recycle all the way back again. That allowed Prince Sophia to get around another scoring pass and put another 5 points on that jam for Crime City. Crime City have hit the century mark in this last jam.
One-on-one, Janai holds up Prince Sophia. Pivot turned jammer, Lolly pops him hard, sneaks into the pack, but will not pass hips before the fourth whistle, according to Cherry Fury. Outside pack ref confirms, so no points for Detroit again, and Crime City continues this run now up by 80 points. Detroit has not scored here in at least 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's been a tough run for them. And some kind of timeout is happening. I don't know if it's an official timeout or whether a review's been called. It's an official timeout.
So not only is the European SmackDown, of course, happening presently, March Badness also going on in WFTDA action, as well as a handful of games all across the world. It's nice to see things finally starting to rev up in the WFTDA season. Of course, this weekend, the first action for a lot of these teams.
Indeed, it is early in 2016, hence the snow that's caused us so much difficulty in the north of England over the last few days.
Yeah, we were graciously, we got the snow dumped on Detroit the day before most of us had to leave. So it was pretty much cleared out before we carpooled up to Toronto. It's because it's way cheaper to fly out of Canada for some reason.
Oh, okay. Of course, it's lovely here in Malmo. It's been nice and bright and calm, but
Yes.
we've not seen much daylight today, AK.
Nope. But that's all right. It hasn't been too incredibly cold. It's pretty nice out.
Indeed.
Outside of the gray. Hopefully we can get an update from what's going on down on the floor. In the meantime, I'd like to remind you, of course, of Sucker Punch. It's helping put on this great event. Europe's finest roller derby shop, owned and operated by derby skaters. It's more than a store. They're a workshop. You can mount and fix your skates. They have a large range of in-stock items, so you can walk out the door with the wheels, skates, protective gear that you want. They have an easy web shop, simple and fast shipping, and heck, you can be helped and advised in English, French, Dutch, German, Spanish.
What about Irish, AK?
I'm sure they could probably do that too.
I'm sure they probably could. There's always Google Translate anyway if you get
Exactly.
stuck in there.
Again, that of course is Sucker Punch, proud sponsors and presenters of European SmackDown.
Famously, I don't have any skates, but I'm still quite excited about getting out there to see what Sucker Punch have for sale today. I came late to the party, as it were, so I didn't get a chance to browse all the stalls. But there are some fantastic displays out in the merch village here, so hopefully we'll get a chance to peruse that a little bit later on. I don't know if people understand this in the States particularly, but in the British Isles, somebody who has no friends is a Billy No Mates.
Ah!
So somebody who doesn't have any skates is a Billy No Skates.
I get you.
There you go. I thought I might have to explain that one at some point because it draws bemusement elsewhere.
And although I don't have the conversion memorized, 40 ounce is, I believe, 3 point something liters.
This is Crime City's official review.
There we go.
They are challenging the lack of misconduct call for late hit at the end of the jam for Detroit's jammer.
Okay, yeah, there was contact right at the end of the jam. Of course, the referees will determine whether or not it was after the whistle. And we could potentially see another jammer in the box for Detroit, which has been their bane in this first half.
Of course, Crime City with nothing to lose by calling this review at this stage.
Oh, exactly. That's, you know, they've got it. If they win, they get a jammer in the box. If not, they got a free timeout. No harm, no foul. If there is no foul.
And with an 82-point lead, they can really afford to take the time to look into this.
Now go ahead.
I was just going to say, I've been quite enjoying the Malmo British Invasion T-shirts that I've been seeing everywhere. There's quite a crowd, having trekked over here from the UK for this tournament. So there's probably quite a few people from all over Europe. It's a really exciting thing to be a part of, I have to say. Something like the first WFTDA sanctioned tournament in Europe. I was at the first European tournament in Berlin about 3.5 years ago, and that was pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, it's always fun when you get in that first thing. We have an answer from our referees.
In review, the contact was initiated by yellow Crime City's blocker. Therefore, the no call will stand, and Crime City will not retain their official review for the half.
Okay, interesting. Follow-up thought, if the contact was initiated by Crime City's blocker after the whistle...
Why is there no misconduct call on Crime City?
Exactly. That's a head-scratcher. If you've got an opinion on that, tweet us. Of course, if Detroit probably could have thrown that at them too, because they still have their official review for the first half. They will not, however. We're just going to jump back into the action. Here we go.
Rookard dealing with that pack of Crime City at the moment and managing to do it, in fact, getting through and picking up a lead jammer for Detroit.
Now, Detroit has had a couple of leads here and there late in this first half. They have not been able to capitalize them to the tune of any points. So we really need to capitalize on this one. Rookard getting out one to beat, and she does. Looks like they're going to go for long points here. Oh, and a late call off by Rookard, the first-year All-Star. Gives up 4 points, so they'll match 4 for 4. This is a rough game for Detroit right here.
It sure is. You just see Hannah P approaching the back of that pack and just smacking straight through the middle, splitting it evenly and getting all 4 points. Pretty much in one go, in one instant, she passed all 4 players' heads.
Yeah, Crime City's jammers have great vision on their approach, and they're finding that proper angle to get in between those walls.
And we've got Curly Hoare up on the jam line now for Crime City, so hopefully we'll get to see some more of her fantastic fancy footwork. She's up against Swift Justice for Detroit.
Swifty held with a brace, 2 all in the back. Meanwhile, Detroit, it's a weird formation, gets broken apart via a forearm. Curly Hoare in the box now, so it's a power jam for Swift Justice. There's going to be a direction of gameplay penalty, sending Meryl Slaughterberg to the penalty box for Detroit. So 4-3 pack advantage here for Crime City, but it's a power jam for Detroit.
It's a power jam, but they're opting for a passive offense, which is a little bit perplexing at the moment because Swift Justice is making precisely 0 headway. And as if they could read my mind, Detroit send a blocker forward to make a hole in that pack, and meantime, Crime City pick up a clockwise block penalty.
Maybe kicks to the box as Curly Hoare comes out. Yeah, editorial. If you are in a power jam and you are down in a game, do not opt for passive offense when you've got a team that can completely lock up your jammer, please. I'm speaking for all the jammers in the world. Dear Lord, please help us. Unless you're Steph Maney or Curly Hoare, I think.
Well, Curly Hoare is out.
Star semi-stash. And another late call-off, and did she stick the landing in time?
Yes, she did, I believe. We're just waiting to see the referees.
Yeah, the wheels have to hit, and they did. 4 points.
No,
2 points.
2 points.
It looked like she cleared the whole pack.
It looked like it from where we were sat, but obviously not having the entire angle on the track.
Yeah.
Crime City have come in to contest those points, it looks like, but of course they've lost their review, so they have nothing to do about it at this point, other than have a friendly chat with the referees.
Heupel now jamming for Detroit. And that is Ankafar for Crime City, being knocked to the infield and dragged back 20 feet behind the jammer line. Meanwhile, Heupel not finding any space. Pyramid scheme up front working well for Crime City. They shift her to the infield and she'll come back and reset. It's going to be a forearm penalty. The Crime City blocker, but they have lead jammer just out in front of Heupel is Ankafar. 121 to 37 is our score.
Ankafar doing a little bit of jammer on jammer, a little bit of a psych out there rather than any kind of actual physical contact. But of course, Crime City now have time to burn on this clock with the lead that they have. And we will probably have 1 more jam, maybe 2 more jams left in this half. And we've got Prince Sophia up on the jam line for Crime City. She's up against Racer McChaser for Detroit. But it is Prince Sophia who is through the pack first and picks up your lead jammer for Crime City.
Scrambling back and forth. Good movement right there. Almost out. And Prince Sophia gets sent out of bounds. That was Nikki Knoxum. Meanwhile, Laserbeam picking up a forearm penalty for Detroit and sent her to the box. No pack called as Off the Hook is sent to the box. They're going to continue to block Racer McChaser, which will yield an out-of-play penalty. Prince Sophia threw on a scoring pass. It'll be a grand slam for Crime City.
Racer McChaser now coming up against that 3-wall, but she gets around him with a little help from her friends and is through the pack. Prince Sophia manages to pass that very much depleted Detroit pack and picks up the points.
Yeah, good job by Crime City. They recognize there's only one Detroit blocker on there. And what you want to do, you've got that skater advantage. You swarm, take them out of the equation. Great offense being played by Crime City. Checking out Talk to SmackDown. Thank you, Grace Kelly, for clarifying the misconduct, saying Detroit only hit after the whistle because the Crime Skater stepped into the way and it became unavoidable. And you can legally step in someone's way when it's technically initiating, but basically saying it was incidental. So thank you, Grace. A font of roller derby knowledge always.
Indeed.
You can see it right there. And Amelia Nohart, hi Amelia Nohart, and says, give a shout out to my new team, the Windy City Rollers. We're watching and cheering for Detroit comeback. Hashtag Talk to SmackDown. Thank you, Amelia, one of our announcer friends back home, who's also a skater. Congratulations on making the Windy City Rollers. Windy City Rollers in Detroit will be facing off in Detroit very soon. I believe it's going to be next month.
Sounds interesting. That's going to be something that we're going to be interested in watching over here. I'm anxiously glued to the feed from the British champs also. Tier 1 LOID with 3 minutes left on the clock, 208 points to 165. I'm wearing my red rose tie today for the Rebel Roses of Leeds Roller Dolls.
Right on. I am wearing my WFTDA shirt because this is the first ever WFTDA recognized tournament in Europe, European SmackDown. It's been a heck of a day. We've got a very interesting game, very much in control of Crime City Rollers here. They've had a great first half after a rough start. Detroit does have 30 minutes to bring it back. We're going to go into halftime, get a quick breather, and bring you the final 30 minutes of roller derby action here from European SmackDown on day one. All right, folks, so welcome back from beautiful Malmo, Sweden. We are bringing you the European SmackDown, brought to everybody by the Crime City Rollers and Sucker Punch Skate Shop. Crime City, our hosts, hosting this tournament and holding serve in this game. Incredible first half for Crime City. 130 points. Detroit held to 37. AK40 ounce here with Billy No Skates. Bill, your thoughts on the first half?
I have to say, even though there is quite a discrepancy between the two teams, I've really been enjoying the play. It's been a very entertaining game to watch. And quite a lot of games where you have this point discrepancy. I mean, there's 93 points separating the two teams at the moment. It doesn't necessarily feel like that on track. Crime City have racked up an enormous amount of points. Started off quite slow, both teams taking a little bit of time to feel each other out, I think, and get the scores on the board. But then after about the first 10 minutes, Crime City started to soar away with the points. And they've left Detroit with an awful lot of catching up to do.
That they have. Penalties an issue, inopportune penalties. Looking at the board at halftime, penalties are even. 22 trips to the box for Crime City. Penalty leaders Curly Hoare and Trippy each with 4, and Detroit 20 sits in the penalty box. Racer, the only skater for Detroit, with 4. So penalties even though it seemed that the penalty troubles were really striking Crime City early, and then Detroit later. Pretty even. So I think it's been capitalization on the part of Crime City. There have been a number of small mistakes, late call-offs from Detroit Jammers that have allowed Crime City to outscore them or at least match them in jams where they had control. And just some phenomenally tight pack work from Crime City is the story of the first half.
I think we've also seen some excellent pack work, particularly in terms of offensive blocking from Crime City. They've really played together very, very well. You've seen them just move as one. Clear a path right through for that jammer to come through and pick up the points, and that, I think, is one of the things that's made a really significant difference.
Yeah, they're definitely clicking together as a team. They all seem to be responding very well to their teammates. Detroit a little bit more spread out. We'll see how they come together in the second half. Of course, first things first, you have to stay out of the penalty box. Starting this second half, Detroit will have 2 seated in the box. Well, 1 seated, 1 standing. They're going to send Freakin' Reekin and Cookie Rumble out to the track. There'll be 3 defenders for Crime City. And who are our jammers?
We've got Sarah Heupel up for Detroit, and she's up against Prince Sophia for Crime City.
Heupel taken down hard on the inside line. Meanwhile, Prince Sophia sent out on the outside line. Heupel right into a triangle. Oh, beautiful swinging hip check to the outside. Sends Heupel out. She's now going to go for the star pass. Meanwhile, lead jammer Prince Sophia.
Looked like Heupel had her way all the way around the park then, but it just didn't quite happen for her. She took that knock and forced to recycle. So Prince Sophia now on her initial scoring pass.
Prince Sophia, along with Curly Har, we've seen some great, really pushy jamming, getting in there, using their power to drive Detroit's defense forward into right here a no-pack situation where they're going to have to drop somebody. Another out-of-play penalty. That's the thing. They're getting those penalties. They're getting them to drop. And as the skater's going back, they're still getting the out-of-play blocking penalties. Both teams being able to successfully pull that off. Here we go. Prince Sophia already a scoring pass, now coming around for another one.
Indeed. And she is just putting that pressure on. We've had a star stash there from Sarah Heupel, and she puts the jammy star back on just as Prince Sophia calls the jam. Waiting for the fingers. Got a bit of a conversation happening there.
And no points for Detroit. A handful for Crime City. 140 for the team from here, Malmo, Crime City. Detroit with 37. Detroit, of course, in the black and red, and Crime City in the gold and purple.
That's Hannah P on the jam line for Crime City.
3-3 pack. Detroit defense holding back. Hannah P steps back, gets room, and a beautiful cut to the outside lead jammer. Meanwhile, Jillian Ruckert for Detroit, the jammer, going up the middle, thinks better of it, goes to the infield, and their inside line, and gets through on her initial pass. But another quick scoring pass here for Crime City jammer. Hannah P, 4 and no more. 144-37.
Nice bit of pack awareness there from Hannah P. She knew exactly where that jammer was and knew exactly when to call the jam. That's Swift Justice with the jammer star for Detroit. And she's up against Anka Farr for Crime City.
So I do have some points information from the first half we'll get to after this jam. Meanwhile, we're seeing everybody locked up and pushing. Swift Justice finding a little bit of room, but great job by Crime City to get back in front of her. They're going to draw a multiplayer block now. That's going to send kicks to the box for Crime City. Well, Ankafar driven out by the shoulder of Laserbeam.
It's a nice little sacrifice there from Detroit, managing to push that jammer out and force her to set back. But Swift Justice again, not much swiftness happening here. That wall is holding extremely tight, and we've seen below me directing that pack, keeping the pressure on.
The thing that I'm really noticing about Crime City right there is their footwork, the way they're placing their feet when they're in their triangle formation. Oh, Swift Justice cutting the track is going to the penalty box, but Ankafar already there. The multiplayer call against the jammer for Crime City, so it'll be a brief power jam for Crime City.
Switcheroo in the penalty boxes. One jammer in goes, one jammer out. And Ankafar back on track.
Again, aggressive right there, hitting the side of Kelly Janai pushing her out of the way and finishing her initial pass is Ankafar. Swift Justice also coming up on her initial pass. Hits a wall of gold and purple. They're going to push her out and then run it back. We saw this in the first half, an entire lap backwards for both jammers. This one only mercifully goes about a quarter track.
Yeah, one of my favorite lines from, I don't know if you're familiar with Father Ted, but we had one of the stars of Father Ted passed away this week. It's a comedy series. It's very much beloved of the people of the British Isles, and one of his lines was, nuns, feck, reverse, reverse. And that's what I think of every time I see this pack going backwards and backwards and backwards. What I can think of is nuns, reverse, reverse.
So 3 more points going up for Crime City, 147 on their side of the scoreboard. Detroit still at 37. They sat at 33 points for a long stretch in the first half. Picked up 4 points right near the end. Total points coming from Meryl Slaughterberg, 13, 12 from Racer McChaser, Jillian Rookard with 9, and Heupel with 3 in the first half.
And that is Racer McChaser with the jammer star for Detroit now, but she is up against Curly Hoare. Oh, and a jammer-on-jammer takeout.
Oh, that was a blocker.
Oh, it was a blocker.
Yeah, Tiggle Hitties, an out-of-play penalty assessed on her.
So Curly Hoare coming through for her first scoring pass as Racer McChaser just about manages to squeak her way around there, but last blockers and is clear of the pack on her initial pass.
I think cumulatively that was a 1080 if you add up all those spins, one-on-one, 360, 360, 360. The only number that really matters in that jam, though, 4-0. Crime City extending their lead now, 151-37.
And the Crime City defense have effectively just shut down the Detroit Jammers.
Detroit's got to take a different approach here. I'm surprised we're not seeing a little bit more dedicated offense. Perhaps we will as this game moves on. 23:45-ish. Left in the first half. A whistle blows and everyone stops and stands around. We have an official timeout on the floor. So a quick look at the Crime City points in the first half of gameplay. Prince Sophia, 45 points, 100 points, or I'm sorry, number 100 Curly Hoare, 44 points, 27 points for Hannah P, and Ankafar with 14. All right, official timeout is over, and we are back to the action. 23:38 left in this game. 151-37 is our score. Crime City again, lead jammer this time, Prince Sophia.
Prince Sophia hitting the back of the pack for her first scoring pass as Sarah Heupel just about manages to squeak through those blockers on her initial pass. And we're seeing a little bit more jammer on jammer action. Prince Sophia looking to her bench, taking direction and calling off that jam. 4 points on that first pass for Prince Sophia and 0 points for Detroit.
Yeah, I love the approach there from Prince Sophia. Had that brace to all of Detroit on the outside, just came in strong, hit it, stepped back, and looked for another lane. We're seeing quite a bit of that. You know, they've got power. They're very strong jammers on Crime City, but just their vision, the way they see their holes developing and taking advantage of it is really impressive to watch, Billy.
That is Curly Hoare with the jammer star for Crime City.
They're being slowed up by Cookie Rumble in the pack. Goes to a knee, but springs back up. Now being swarmed again by Detroit, but here we see Crime City breaking them apart. Detroit reforming in the front. They do have lead jammer with Jillian Rookard.
I do apologize. That's Hannah P, the jammer star for Crime City.
We will forgive you this one.
Thank you so kindly.
We all make mistakes.
Rookard
almost makes a mistake there. Oh, they did say she cut the track. Didn't look like she had completely re-entered, but her foot must have come up. Outside pack ref saw it, and it's now a power jam and a grand slam for Crime City.
I saw Rookard massaging her wrist as she came around. I'm not sure whether she was adjusting a piece of equipment or whether she took a knock, but it looked to me as though she was in a little bit of pain going around there.
Yeah, that's as she was coming around for her scoring pass, she was a little slower. It seemed like she was adjusting something on her arm. They caught a stinger in there. Detroit scrambling, spreading up front. No pack calls. Cookie Rumble drops back to bridge. Meanwhile, one-on-one laser beam with the jammer for Crime City. She will get past it to score another 5 points. Power jams very, very to the detriment of Detroit in this game.
We did see there that Crime City managed to very effectively gazelle one of the Detroit blockers and managed to stop them from regrouping at the front of the pack and keeping the game moving forward. So they were very much able to control the pace of play.
Gazelle, is that a fancier goat?
Yeah, that's
okay.
the one. Yeah, it's a little bit more elegant.
Yes.
And there goes Hanapi taking all the points on that pass. That's a natural Grand Slam.
Did a great job staying outside the inside line, going back and not letting Rooker get in. As soon as she stepped in, she got some body thrown at her. Really a phenomenal job. Great athleticism and very heady play from the Crime City packs.
And there is 4 on the board for Detroit. That's the first score that we've seen from Detroit for quite a number of jams now.
Yeah, first points here in the second half, is it?
I wouldn't like to commit to that, but it's certainly what it feels like anyway. And this is math that even Beatrix could do. Look, it's 130 points.
Yes, those were the first points because there were 37 in the first half.
Excellent.
As my quick math on our points update calculated. All right, here we go. Back to the action.
We've got Ankafar with the jam start for Crime City up against Swift Justice for Detroit.
Ankafar pushing that front pack, which is the pack.
They had sent somebody forward there to do a little bit of offense, but
yeah, trippy right there, the pivot. Oh, track cut forced right there on Ankafar. Now Detroit jumping back to play offense. And one thing I'm noticing here, and again, this is a coachable moment. When you jump back to play offense like that, if you're doing it, as you've got their jammer knocked out and you want to reform, you can do that quick offense, just throw a little hit and then get back and reform. But when you're on a power jam like that, you really want to commit to those blocks. Once you get those blockers, you want to lock them up and keep them occupied. You can't just hit it and leave them because they will quickly get back to doing their defensive thing.
And that's exactly the kind of play that we've been seeing from Crime City during this game, is that when they've gone back to do offense, everybody's known exactly what they were supposed to be doing. Everybody was where they needed to be, and they got the job done, got the jammer out, they got the points on the board, and that's why we're seeing such a discrepancy at this stage.
Ankafar is out of the box. Power jam is over, and we've had a star pass to Meryl Slaughterberg. Slaughterberg leading score for Detroit in only one jam. Had picked up 13 points in the first half, now with the star and free. Out of play block called on kicks, which will send her to the box. She'll be joined shortly thereafter by Cookie Rumble for Detroit.
Slaughterberg, even though she hasn't actually started as a jammer at all, she's taken the star a couple of times and she's racked up some of the points that we've seen from Detroit so far. So we'll see what she can do. And there goes the whistle. And that was 3 points for Slaughterberg in that last jam. So another 3 points on the board there for Detroit.
Yeah, and at this point, the rankings, quick look at this. Detroit coming into this number 20, Crime City number 25. So Crime City winning is, especially by a point differential similar to what we have now, would be a huge upset and a rankings boon for them. Detroit, however, has to be mindful of getting points up and limiting points for Crime City, not only to try and win this game, but also get a higher percentage of the total points.
There goes Curly Hoare on her first scoring pass, and she manages to pick up a natural Grand Slam, all 5 in the sky for her. Racer McChaser still dealing with that, rapidly reforming the Crime City wall. Curly Hoare with a little bit of fake out there. I don't know if that actually fools anyone at this stage. Everybody sees it coming, but regardless, she's effective. Oh, and we've had a whistle going. Just wait to see who that was for. For a second there, I thought that was a cut on Curly Hoare.
Yeah, but the penalty was assessed to Cookie Rumble, the skater who was cut. So since she was called for the penalty, the cut.
Absolutely, and there she just makes it look easy again. Dances through that pack and picks up all 5 points for Crime City. Really gaining some massive momentum at this stage. Curly Hoare not even breathing as she danced around that pack, just did a little 360, carried on, and another 5 points on the board. Detroit have really got to be feeling it at this stage.
Yeah, they look to be feeling it too. You see a lot more you're seeing more jump in the step, I guess you could say, more spring in the step of Crime City. They're scrambling, they're hustling, whereas Detroit is looking a little beat up and a little slower to react.
Although I have to say, Kix did look a little bit relieved to be going to sit out for 30 seconds just then.
Well, she's had a fair number of trips.
Yeah. It's been quite a physical game, though, particularly for the Crime City blockers, and they've really kind of thrown an awful lot of energy into this game.
Well, even still, in this last jam, right at the end, you see a lot of really intense physical blocking, shoulder checks still coming from Crime. They're doing a good job of wearing down Detroit, a team that historically is very physical and very used to wearing down the opposing teams. Of course, this is Detroit's third game in the last 24 hours, whereas this is Crime City's second game. Their first game, a nice warm-up, defeating a team by nearly 400 points, so not quite the same level of competition. So they appear slightly fresher.
They've also potentially not got to deal with the jet lag.
That too.
That's got to be a slight advantage.
That can come into effect, I imagine. Yeah, 6-hour time difference for the Detroit skaters. Of course, the biggest difference of any of the teams here. Of course, the only ones coming over from the state. Well, folks, we've got 15:45 left in this game. Crime City 195, Detroit with 44. Please tweet at us, #TalkToSmackDown. You want shout-outs, you have thoughts, comments, questions, pictures of your watch parties, whatever, please tweet them at us.
I was wondering where that sentence is going, AK40 ounce, and I'm quite glad that is where it went, because asking for pictures could bring on a whole world of stuff you didn't want to get into.
Well, we won't necessarily show everything on the feed. There you see some of our tweets. Like to get some on this game. Right now, we'll go down to the floor for our official review.
This is Crime City's official review. They are challenging the lack of a cut track call on Detroit's jammer at the corner tree at the end of the jam.
All right, so there you have it. Crime City looking for a track cut using their official review. They have 2 timeouts remaining. Detroit with 1, and their second half review still on the board.
Not quite sure how Detroit could use that remaining timeout and that remaining review to their advantage at this stage, if potentially to arrest the momentum of Crime City really seem to have been pushing forward in the last few jams.
Now, a quick look at one of the roller derby nerds' favorite tools, a website known as Flat Track Stats. Biggest movers already today, Crime City plus 37.3.
Wow.
They have moved up into the top 20 on Flat Track Stats.
That's exciting times for Crime City rollers.
Yeah, massive jump right there. Meanwhile, Glasgow dropping 65 points as a result of their 2 heavy losses. Let's see, we've also got Helsinki moving up after beating them. And we'll go back to the floor for the results.
In review, Detroit's jammer re-entered behind yellow 1337, and after her re-entry, only after her re-entry did yellow 1337 skate behind her. No call will stand, and Crime City will not retain their official review for the half.
Okay, so a win here for Detroit. Maybe something to start building some momentum off of. Get some spirit injected.
Of course, I think they're probably just really appreciating that little interruption to Malmo's flow at this stage.
That's true. Every break is going to be an advantage, as we said. You know, maybe a little bit of jet lag. This being their 3rd game since last night. Every little bit's going to help.
Prince Sophia, though, dealing with that very tight Detroit defense at the moment.
And we've got Meryl Slaughterberg starting with the star for Detroit. Detroit, of course, a number of different jammer looks they can give. Just to see them mixing it up.
And there goes Prince Sophia. She is out and has your lead jammer status for Malmo for Crime City.
Gotta give a lot of credit to Trippy right there, the pivot for Crime City, who came in and just sacrificing body to move out the Detroit defender. Prince Sophia now again being locked up by Detroit, going to push through and pick up a grand slam. Below me to the box for Crime City. Leave them short a blocker. They do have the lead jammer advantage, and that will pay off. Quick call off before Detroit can score 1 point going up for Crime City. That'll bring it to 201 for Malmo, 44 for Detroit.
And we've got just under 15 minutes left in this half and in this day one of this tournament, in fact.
So, looking back, Detroit versus London this morning, 345 to 97. London took the victory. They're on pace, Crime City's on pace right now to outdo that. Maybe not in total points, but percentage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which could set the stage very interestingly for tomorrow night's, unfortunately not sanctioned, but regulation game of Crime City versus London. Swift Justice is your lead jammer.
Lead jammer and clear of the pack on her initial pass and speeding around to take advantage of any points she can score on this.
She goes nice weave to the outside now, hitting Crime City, gets locked up. Meanwhile, Hannah P with a lot of room, speeds past, finishes her initial. Detroit now, Peaches and Cremia throwing some offense up. Gonna help Swift Justice get in there and pick up 4 points for Detroit.
And any points that go on the board for Detroit now have got to be to their advantage. They're going to be doing absolutely everything they can to try and keep the percentages down.
That's right, 201 for Crime City, 48 for Detroit. We have 12:55 left in this game. Of course, again, this is the final game of the European SmackDown Day 1. A lot of action still coming tomorrow. Talk more about that as this game closes out.
Now we've got Cookie Rumble with the Jammer Star for the first time, I believe, today for Detroit.
Yeah, first time in this game for sure. Tiptoeing on the outside line, just steps out. Comes back to reset. Meanwhile, jammer for Crime City. Curly Har going down in turn 1. Now getting pushed out by Freakin' Rican. Cuts the did she cut the track on Tigo Hitty? She did. I heard the whistle. Hand signal now coming in, and it's a power jam here for Detroit. They're going to lose Freakin' Rican to the box as a blocker, but they do have the only jammer out there and an even 3-3 pack.
And Curly Har there looking entirely disgruntled to pick up that penalty. I think she might have been looking for a high block, possibly. She went down holding her face a couple of seconds ago, so possibly looking for something that the referees didn't see. Cookie Rumble pushing that defense further and further forward. More whistles going, and a multiplayer block is assessed. And Cookie Rumble is through, picks up all 5 points, a grand slam for Detroit.
Goldie blocks headed to the box. Right at the end of that one, that was the multiplayer block.
That's not easy to say.
Goldie blocks to the box, multiplayer block. That's a good announcer practice. As you at home, if you need the tongue twister, feel free to steal that one.
Well, I do apologize to anybody who's got the hotel room next to mine tonight, because that's what you're going to be hearing all night long. Because my wife is at home and I've got nothing better to do.
All right, back to the action. Meryl Slaughterberg with the star. And we're seeing Detroit now with the different jammer rotation. Cookie Rumble with some success. I anticipate we may see her again. Meryl Slaughterberg with success here. Lead jammer for Detroit. They do trail by 148. But again, every point's going to matter. This tournament's going to set the stage for all the teams here as far as rankings go.
I believe so, yeah. Curly Har out of the box and struggling for the first time this game, I think, with that Detroit defense. She does manage to get through.
Slaughterberg getting some offensive help from Heupel, who posted up. Spin move past that last defender. Goldie blocks and calling it off with a grand slam. Back-to-back grand slams for Detroit. We haven't seen that since the first 5 minutes of this game.
Yeah, it's good to see them pulling back some points at this stage. You could see Slaughterberg there being very much aware of exactly where the jammer was. She was looking to her bench. She was looking for the jammer. You could see her eyes were all over the track. She knew exactly what was happening then. And we have team timeout going to Crime City. It's one of their final 2 timeouts, so they've got one left after this one if they need to burn any more of the clock.
And let's take a look at Twitter. Remember, you can tweet at us all weekend. #talk2 SmackDown. We've got, let's see.
Well, we've got a question there, what does it mean that the final game tomorrow isn't sanctioned? Please explain.
Well, it is a regulation game. It is played by WFTDA rules. Everything will be exactly the same, except for it will not count towards rankings. It is not a sanctioned game, which means it is not part of the season, as it were. It is otherwise exactly the same. So it'll be very interesting, but it will not affect either team's rankings.
Am I right in saying that that final game is also not being streamed? Or did I make that up?
I think you made that up.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Because everybody wants to watch it now.
Yeah, that's it. We're setting the stage for an incredible clash of course, a Titan and a Titan on the rise.
Indeed. Number 3 in Europe, Malmo, at the moment, and you have to see whether that might...
I anticipate that could change.
Indeed. And we're ready to rock and roll again. We've got Cookie Rumble back with the Jammer. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Cookie Rumble with the Jammer Star for Detroit. And she is up against Prince Sophia.
Prince Sophia pushing the 3-wall of Detroit up again. Doing a great job one-on-one. Just the leg strength of these jammers. Just getting in there, digging and pushing and getting the movement. That's the thing, is we've seen plenty of packs. Like you look at the back right now as Cookie Rumble is locked up. The Crime City Jammers, there's something about the way they're stepping about, where they're hitting, is they're getting those packs to move. Right there, didn't have to move the pack, just went around it with some fancy footwork. Lead jammer, Prince Sophia.
Detroit's defense doing slightly better at the moment.
Yeah, but a illegal procedure, illegal star pass from Cookie Rumble. It appeared to me, out of the corner of my eye, that she had 1 foot out of bounds when she passed the star.
I see. That's unfortunate. Detroit were just starting to get themselves a little bit back together there. And we did see them, they managed to hold Prince Sophia back for a full 45 seconds in that jam. It was quite some time before she managed to break through the pack, but she's passed through on her scoring pass now. It's racked up another 5 points for Crime City. Cookie Rumble now coming out of the box and rejoining her back on track. And a slight blocker advantage to Detroit at the moment. We'll see if they can manage to hold Prince Sophia back for any longer.
Cookie Rumble free of the pack, also drawing an out-of-play penalty that will send Trippy to the box. And Trippy's got to be very close to fouling out. I know that's at least her second here in the second half, and did have 4
Indeed.
in the first half. So that could be 6, and she is near trouble. But with just about 8 minutes left in this game and a 207-58 lead, not something that is going to grievously harm Crime City's chances of winning. Now, Bill, you mentioned the third in Europe. Detroit took down Stockholm yesterday by 11 points. Crime City solidly in the lead here against Detroit. I think that should propel them up to second and, of course, potentially first after tomorrow night.
Well, I think we'll have to see about that. That would really be something. I'm not going to pin all my hopes on it, I have to say, but it'll certainly be an interesting game. I have to say, I can't wait.
Yeah, I'll give it an hour. I don't know about 60 krona though. Let's see what we got here. We've got a lead jammer for Crime City. That's Hannah P again.
Dances around the pack on the inside, making it look absolutely easy. But Sarah Heipel is also out on her initial pass.
Great job by Detroit right there. They had the quick reform on defense and threw the body in, but then Crime City slides in and breaks it apart. And right at the end, as that jam is called off, Heipel losing her edges and is going to go to the box for a low block right at the end, or a misconduct. Could have been called either, but hierarchy insists that it is a blocking after the whistle, misconduct. Either way, it's 30 seconds in the box and a power start for Crime City. They have lead 211-58. We have 6:43 left in this game.
That's Ankafar now with the Jammer Star for Crime City. There's a really great atmosphere here for this game. Of course, being the home team, they've brought a lot of their fans with them, and they seem to have a lot of brass instruments.
Yes, they do. And so far, they've been treated to a victory and what will very likely be a victory for their home team.
You know, I say, you're not supposed to say you can call it, but
Never do until the end. You never know what could happen. Something crazy.
I think it would take something like a meteor strike to stop Crime City Rollers at the moment.
It's weird because that's what I was thinking, and that is one of my greatest fears, that and aneurysms. So, so talk about a meteor strike right there, sliding in low. Meryl Slaughterberg taken out by the jammer for Crime City, and she will go to the box for that one. It'll be a low block on Hannah P. and a power jam, Ankafar, and a power jam now for Sarah Heupel and Detroit.
Sarah Heupel managing to stay in bounds just there a few seconds ago by balancing on the very points of her toe stops. Keeps in play and gets through the back on her initial pass.
Direction gameplay penalty on Tig O'Hitty, so Detroit now with 3 blockers, 2-4. We see some coordinated offense. Again, Heupel losing her wheels. We've heard that this floor is inconsistent and a little tricky. It's at points slippery and at points very sticky.
I don't want to know what's been happening here. Heupel back out of the box.
And Ankafar into the box. Again, a back block penalty. So it is again a power jam for Detroit and another penalty going to a Crime City blocker. So they've got 3. Laser Beam will join her. Detroit now with 3, and the power jam going for the star pass now to Meryl Slaughterberg, who goes right into the mouth of that Crime City defensive formation. Detroit now breaking things up, but good hustle, great reformation in front by Crime City. Slaughterberg will pick up 4 points for Detroit. It'll bump their total up to 62. If my math does good things. Yes, it does. And 218 for Crime City.
And it's been an intense competition. I mean, Crime City, more or less since the second half have looked like they've been running away with this game. There's been no chance that Detroit were going to catch them. But it has been very, very intense. I mean, nobody's been rolling over and letting things happen.
Not at all. Yeah, this is a well-earned victory. Should things go the way we anticipate and meteor strikes be damned. Lead jammer right now goes to Cookie Rumble. 25 points here in the second half for Detroit.
Ankafar straight out of the box and straight into the back of that Detroit pack.
And then straight down. Detroit's walls holding strong here in the second half, and that's a good sign moving forward. They were having some difficulty keeping their formations, but if they're getting stronger as the game wears on, even with the fatigue, that is a really good sign.
Indeed it is, and it bodes well for tomorrow's games for Detroit.
Well, thankfully for them, it is not plural. I'm sure they're very happy. This, of course, being their third game, as I mentioned, in 24 hours. They play Helsinki tomorrow. That game will be at 1600. That's 4 o'clock present Malmo time, which math 10 a.m. back in Detroit, for those who are going to be looking forward to that one. Of course, things will start out tomorrow with London, Glasgow, followed by Crime City, Helsinki, Stockholm, Glasgow, Detroit, Helsinki, and then, of course, what is looking to be one heck of a matchup, London versus Crime City.
I'm looking forward to seeing Detroit play again tomorrow. I think they're going to be fairly evenly matched against Helsinki as well, so
yeah,
that should be an entertaining matchup. Prince of Fear through on the inside, but she picks up a forearm and she is off to the penalty box, so it is a power jam for Detroit and Meryl Slaughterberg.
Slaughterberg in there mixing things up. Now Tig O'Hitty's up to play offense. The rest of Detroit passive. Slaughterberg, however, great move to the out. Gets through. Lead jammer.
Full complement of blockers on track for both packs at the moment, and it looks like Detroit are going for the passive offense again, and we have talked about this not particularly working very well for them. And just as I say that, they send all their blockers forward and they make it easy for Meryl Slaughterberg. Through the pack picks up all 5 points. That's a grand slam for Detroit.
Here comes Slaughterberg, the "Let's Go Detroit" chant that we've seen quite a bit of this weekend. Is especially a lot of the games have been pretty one-sided score-wise. At the end of the game, the crowd seems to be favoring the underdog, which is always a nice teams who are playing, and they're not going to get completely disheartened by being defeated. Of course, they're putting a lot of heart into it, and get some cheers coming their way is definitely got to give them a little extra boost, Billy.
I don't know if that's necessarily. Is it a European thing possibly to cheer for the underdog?
No,
The
I
crowd
think
get
that's
behind?
universal. At least, well, to some degree. Western society, perhaps. I'm not familiar with the underdog in the East. If somebody would like to let us know, you can tweet at us. This will be your last opportunity today with 1:26 left and a stoppage. We have a timeout for Detroit. This is their last timeout. They still have their review, should they want to use it. But with 1:26 left, this will probably be it. So tweet at us, #talk2SmackDown. Dana Jensen-Wall says, quote, Hypo losing her edge is not a sentence I ever thought I'd hear. #Slippy Floor. And just so we are sure, Hypo lost her edges. Hypo has not, and will surely never lose her edge.
Well, clearly not going to happen. Not in this game anyway,
Nope.
for sure.
Not in this lifetime.
And we're ready to get back on track. We've got Hannah P up on the jam line for the home team. And she's up against Cookie Rumble. But it is Hannah P who is off the pivot line, gets lead jammer for Crime City Rollers.
Cookie Rumble aggressively breaking through, taking him one-on-one now, being run to the outside. Getting handsy in there, both teams. Cookie now rolling around that last defender, had been lapped in a Grand Slam, goes up for Crime City. Another scoring pass approach. Ooh, Hypo just puts the hip out. 0-0 as Hannah P hit Hypo and went straight down. Well, not straight down. It was more of a pew off to the side trajectory.
Ricochet.
Yeah.
Hannah P looked disappointed there that she didn't get any points on the last pass, but this is surely going to be the last jam, unless somebody gets in a very, very, very timely timeout. Prince Sophia up on the jam line for Crime City, the home team, and we've got Meryl Slaughterberg with the jammer start for Detroit.
Slaughterberg riding the outside line, gets finished off to the edge by Below Me. Of course, Below Me coming over from Stockholm.
With a slight change of name, the addition of a single letter has made it slightly more family friendly.
Yes, that's right. Fans of the Jeopardy sketches will get that one. 5 more points going up right there for Prince Sophia. Meanwhile, Slaughterberg, a helmet cover in hand, gets knocked to the infield, will put the star back and finish this jam period. Time has abated. We are in jam time.
I don't know whether she was going for a star pass or a star stash on that last. Either way, it hasn't worked. She's put the star back on her head. She's dealt with that. Ducked under the arms of the Malmo skaters, but she still has one to beat. Oh,
Yep.
and she is through. Yes. The penalty being called was not for her. It was for Trippy. Oh, is this Trippy's?
Here's a forearm. Yeah, I believe Trippy may have fouled out right at the end there.
Right at the very, very end.
But you know what? Sometimes you take good penalties, and in a game like this, basically everything Crime City did ended up somehow in their favor. Their penalty kills were fantastic. Their offense, brilliant. Their defense, absolutely incredible. Some of the finest we've seen all weekend. 233-75. Crime City, massive upset of the Detroit Derby Girl All-Stars. And they are primed for an interesting day tomorrow. They will play Helsinki at noon. Helsinki will play Detroit at 4, and then Crime City will take on London. 6 p.m. Malmo time tomorrow. Yeah, the crowd absolutely loving this one. 2 big wins for Crime City. Not only should they be incredibly proud of themselves for hosting this event, which has been very well put on, a little behind the scenes, the hosting has been wonderful. Not only putting on this event, but putting out a team that not only just handed, I don't want to say anything untoward, but heavy-handedly won against Glasgow.
Yes.
And then here, nearly the same, not quite the deficit, but a massive win over Detroit. Incredible.
Yeah.
They look great. This team, a couple losses, a couple additions, but they look better than we've seen them ever. They look like a top 10 team, this Crime City squad.
I have to say, they certainly do. They've really, really taken the ball and run with it today. It's been an intense competition. It's been a very physical game. All the way through to the end, everybody was pushing. Crime City Jammers have some incredible leg strength. It's just been phenomenal to watch them making that space for themselves, getting their way through the packs. Anything interesting on Twitter there?
Just a little correction for the Helsinki folks out there. And this is good to know because I will be very excited to be bringing you both Helsinki games tomorrow. That Taru and Jenica Saxaline are not sisters. They are married. Thank you for letting us know that. I appreciate that. I'm just going to leave it at that. Thank you for clarifying that. So a quick look back at today. Let's reminisce, shall we, Billy?
Let's. I missed half of it, but do go on, because quite frankly, I'm playing catch-up here, so bring me up to speed.
That's all right. A lot of ketchup here, not a lot of mustard, I've noticed, in this town. Anyways, London opened things up with a win over Detroit, 345-97. Crime City then 536 to Glasgow's 46, their first big win of the day. London then coming back, playing Stockholm, defeating them 295-49. Helsinki 485-73 over Glasgow. And then, of course, Crime City closing out the action today, 233 to Detroit's 75. So a big day for Crime City, a very interesting day of derby here at the European SmackDown. And we've got one more full day coming to you tomorrow. We'll be starting again 10 a.m. Malmo time, which I believe is +1. And we hope you'll be joining us then. It's been an absolute pleasure. I have been and will hopefully always be AK40 out.
And I have been and may well be tomorrow, Billy No Skates.
Let's hope you make it here tomorrow. All right, folks. From the European SmackDown, from all the folks at Sucker Punch, our presenting sponsor, and the hosts here, the Crime City Rollers. Thank you for joining us for European SmackDown Day 1. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.